Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. Oh, hello, little Mares. She's come up to come and say hello, my delicious babies. You're right. You just had your chicky, didn't you? You just had your chicky. Eh? Mommy little baby, yes. Mommy's just doing a video now, okay? You want to look in the camera? Do you want to look in the camera and say hello? Do you want to look in the camera, baby, and say hello? No, she doesn't want to at the moment, my delicious babies. Now then, so the time is, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? So it's nearly 5:15 in the afternoon, my delicious babies. The sky is completely covered, my delicious babies, with not so very nice, fluffy white and grey clouds. You probably got a touch of blue sky, my delicious babies. It is sun shining now, my delicious babies. So, but it has been, if it's raining. So that's the weather forecast in our old England, my delicious babies, in my neck of the woods. Of course, it could be different in other parts, but I hope that wherever yourselves are, my delicious babies, that you're having the most super duper and delicious and beautiful time wherever you are in the world. What do we do? 3, 2, 1, my juice, little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious looking back. Yes, I've got to say something, my delicious little babies. I've had this song on my noddle since yesterday evening. Still waters run deep. It's a very old song. There we are, my delicious little babies. A very old song indeed. Still waters run deep. Now, what it is, I've got no videos today, my delicious babies, but I do actually feel, because I can sense something, you know, when you can feel it, there we are, in the water. It's an old-fashioned saying, my delicious babies, when you can feel it in the water. And I feel that maybe, there we are, I'm ruffling a few feathers somewhere. There we are. Okay, my delicious babies, that is good. I'm liking it. You see what I mean, my delicious babies, yes? And the reason why is that I do not feel that we should really be focusing so much on Gaza. Now, for some, they would say, well, you know, well, I suppose they could call me anything, really, a bitch, whatever they want to call me. I really couldn't give a figureless F, quite frankly. Not at all. Because the more and more there we are that one learns, okay, my delicious babies, the more and more there we are that we see that there's something else going on here. There is something else at play. My delicious little babies, do you see what I'm saying? Yes. So, what I have to say, and that doesn't mean no, what I have to say is that maybe we should not be fully focusing. I'll repeat again, no, nobody would ever want any little babies to starve, to go hungry. Of course not. That is ding, ding, dong, dong common sense. So this is not sarcasm to you, my delicious babies, whoever's so very kind enough to listen to my videos. But of course you will get, there we are. You will get other ones, you know, what a bitch. She's saying this, she's saying that. What's the agenda? There we are. My delicious babies, there we are. What is the agenda? That's what I'm asking, my delicious babies, okay? Anyway, just let you know. So it's my birthday. It's my birthday today, my delicious little babies. So I'm 52. So that comes to 7, doesn't it, my delicious little babies? And then if you add up the date, 3/9/2025 comes to 3. My delicious little babies, do you see what I mean? Anyway, I wasn't even going to do a video, to be honest, my delicious little babies. I've actually had a really, there we are, fantastic and productive day, as it so happens. And I've just been spending a couple of hours cooking. So I'm going to be having my Spanish spuds very shortly, my delicious little babies, okay, after I've got my cleaning done. So yes, so as far as I'm concerned, my delicious little babies, I just feel, there we are, that one's really need to look very, very closely at this. Okay, my little babies, because all is not as it seems. I'm getting nothing across my shoulders, so that's telling myself no. Okay. If we go back to, let's go back. Let's rewind and go backwards, shall we, in time? Do you remember the Falklands War, my delicious little babies? Okay, that just came into my noddle. There we are. It's just came into my noddle. And there was a dear man, bless him, and he had half of his, bless his dear little soul. I'm not sure what happened. Anyway, he had some sort of, where a lot of his face, and then he had to have reconstruction. You know who I'm on about, my little babies. Well, of course, our fake, there we are, and I will say that, royal family, my little babies, they jumped at the chance, you know what I mean? There we are, to make him a speaker. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. Little did he realise, there we are, what this was actually about. Okay. I do believe, actually, he did go on to get married, bless him. You'll know who I'm talking about, my delicious little babies. He was all over, he was splashed all over the television. He was splashed all over the newspapers, my delicious little babies, all those years ago. And of course, you see, I have a theory here. I mean, I could be wrong. Me personally, I do not feel that I am. Okay, you've got a lot of things that are fueling. There we are, fueling something else. Okay, my little babies, and I have a very strong feeling. There we are, my little babies. That certain, there we are, wanting payback. If you know what I mean, my little babies. Yes, we got it in England. We've got it in America, born in the USA. It's like, there we are, like they're wanting payback. But of course, it's already been proven in America, hasn't it? That they seem to have some sort of guru over there. I've never been one to trust gurus, my delicious babies, not at all. Okay? Not, of course, when I've done my healings. No. Okay, because once they, there we are, put something on you, it can be very difficult, there we are, to remove the damn thing. Do you see what I mean? I can remove it from my end, but it's when somebody goes back home, you see. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, because you see, you have to have the light that conquers the dark. So did you notice what I've done there? I'm left-handed. So the dark is not really the dark with the left, with my left hand, my delicious babies, okay? So the dark is really my right hand, you see. If you go back in time, again, let's rewind and go back decades and decades and decades, like where if you're left-handed, you got burnt at the stake, my delicious babies. I did mention this years ago in one of my videos. Well, you see, it's like everything left is meant to be nasty and putrid, and you know what I mean? You cannot use your left hand, and and everything like this now then. I've actually done very well using my left hand. My delicious babies, do you see what I mean? But let's be serious now. The fact of the matter is that I've even watched videos on YouTube where you say could have somebody who's there we are, Indian or Pakistani, and they've made there we are, their point very clear, most clear, okay, and they've clearly said there we are that they're there to take over. Okay, my delicious babies, and that's what's going on over in some parts of America. So they're wanting ones to become, there we are, Muslim. Okay, my delicious babies, but like I said on my other videos, of course, my videos just do not get out. That's the way her rocks and rolls, you see what I mean? Okay, my delicious, but I'm not going Muslim. You can't forget that. Because you see, it is not a religion, it's an organisation. That's what this is. But for the dear Muslims who I've known over my decades and still know now, they genuinely to their heart, okay, they like to practice, there we are, their religion. Okay, Mardlishlik babies kind. There's no harm there, because what they're doing, there we are, is for the genuine. So there's a very big difference, Mardlishlik babies, to what's going, there we are, to what is really going on here, Mardlishlik babies, okay? So, excuse myself, sorry. So the fact of the matter is, when one's everything is Gaza, okay, Mardlishlik babies, two different ways you can say that. There we are, isn't there? Mardlishlik babies, do you see what I'm saying? The fact of the matter is that not only is all is not as it seems, but it also appears that maybe for most of the world, in the world, okay, there we are, they've been effing shafted, man. There we are. There we are. Okay, Mardlishlik babies be effing shafted. Okay? Now for myself, something else I'd like to mention, you know, like when you look at Israel now, I mean, come on. I mean, you know, for myself, I do not side with any war. I do not side with anything, Mardlishlik babies, because at the end of the day, we only know one who benefits. Okay, so they do not give a fiddler's F, because they've never done a day's work in their life, Mardlishlik babies. They just leave us, you know, the little beings out here, there we are, to do their dirty work, Mardlishlik babies. Do you see what I mean, okay? Well, the fact of the matter is this, is that what's going on here, okay, from what I can see, okay, and I'm seeing, there we are, more and more and more, is that ones have to ask themselves a question: why is Israel, there we are, the way it is? But furthermore, why is it, and I've thought this, there we are, for a long time now with what's been going on. I've just been watching different videos, listening to different things, Mardlishlik babies, okay? So why are they all of a sudden allowing, you know, commentators or the uploaders or the websites to talk about the Jews, the Jewish, and maybe not in such a very nice way? For myself personally, I'll repeat it again, I personally have not met any horrible Jewish man or woman. No, I have not. So I'm just speaking, there we are, for myself. Okay, Mardlishlik babies, okay? I would always say, there we are, doesn't matter what colour or creed, we've all got the same blood running through our veins. Fact of the matter is, there's good and bad in any different colour or culture, not just one. But ones have to ask themselves the question, don't they? Because I feel, there we are, that this truth is going to come out. And I also feel, Mardlishlik, there we are, Mardlishlik babies, and I also feel that, there we are, that when it does, there's going to be, there we are, a lot of egg. It's an old-fashioned saying, Mardlishlik babies, just figure of speech. There's going to be a lot of egg, there we are, on one's birth races. There we are. Okay, Mardlishlik babies, when one's found out the truth. Because still, you know, one's, you know, this is all we're hearing. So, like, I mean, I've got bairns of my own, daughters of my own, Mardlishlik babies. I know plenty, full and plenty, who've got little babies, have all got families, Mardlishlik babies, bless their beautiful, dear little souls. So, of course, you know, you see them, you know, could be anything, eating a watermelon or, you know, eating a piece of bread and butter or whatever, you know, or having an ice cream or whatever. Of course, everybody loves to see, which they should do, to see a little baby eat. Do you know what I mean? Mardlishlik babies, kind, but they're running, there we are, with a story. And it's something, Mardlishlik babies, that's not sitting correctly with myself. Okay, so I'm just done saying it the way it is. Now, if others do not like what I've got to say, okay, because we've got chaos here. It's like this Palestine action and everything. The reality is, it should not even be brought, there we are, into our country. It shouldn't even be here in England, Mardlishlik babies, or in America, or anywhere else. But we have to go back to, there we are, who has caused this? So when you have a rather large number, shall we say, of man and woman now, okay, and it is building, okay, there we are, okay, Madslish babies, oh yes it is, okay, it's like a book, isn't it? You have a beginning, you have a middle, and you surely, there we are, going to have an effing end. Do you see what I mean, Madslish babies, okay? But when everybody's sat there feeling sorry or stood up feeling sorry, so if this comes across really nasty, Madslish babies, I'm not taking a word back. No, I am not. And I repeat again, this has been going on for many decades. Okay, Madslish babies, there we are. It has been going on for many decades. So the ones who are in the government there now then, okay, they're quite happy. Okay, that's the way I see it, Madslish babies. I couldn't give figures F what anyone tells myself. For their population now, there we are, to be bombed. Okay, but somewhere ones are not hearing the other side of the story, it seems. Madslish babies, no, they're not. I've got nothing across my shoulders telling me so. So, you know, whether it's Israel, whether it's Palestine, you know, could be anywhere. The fact of the matter is what's going on here. There we are. There is a narrative, and there's a narrative that other uploaders, other websites are following this narrative. But there we are. But they're not talking about like Sudan. They're not talking about, do you understand what I mean? Okay? Because that's not fitting what's meant to be going on. Madslish babies, you see what I mean? It's not fitting. So because it's not fitting, they've all got to, there we are. They get given a script. Madslish, but see how I stumbled there. But I'm not stopping my video. So they get given a script that they've got to talk about. And then I've also noticed that, you know, there are some, you know, uploaders who will never in a million years bring somebody else on Madslish babies. I've noticed that I've been, you know what, I've just been monitoring it. There we are. I've been monitoring. Do you see what I mean, Madslish baby? There we are. Good and proper. I've been doing this for months. There we are. And months and months and months. Just to see, there we are, how the cookie crumbles. Do you see what I mean, Madslish babies, okay? So, I do not have a lot to say today, Madslish babies. Well, what else can you say? We shouldn't have this business in any of our countries. But then, sir, saying that, if England, who's been running things, and America, there we are, who's been running things, if they hadn't interfered in other countries, we wouldn't be, there we are, in the shat that we're damn well in now. Okay? Because the way it's looking, Madslish babies, unless somebody's got a level noddle of what's going on, then right now we're looking, there we are, pretty effing outnumbered. Okay? Madslish, but there we are, Madslish babies, okay? And we also have to look at who's funding certain organisations and everything, Madslish babies. We have to, there we are, look very closely at what is going on. Okay, they're taking all of the focus on the other putrid damn things that they're doing now, okay? And while everybody's out there protesting, oh, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible. We need to take one look, Madslish babies. Not that I would ever wish it. Of course I would not. I am English. I live in England. But the fact of the matter is, if it was to be on our doorstep, you watch them run. There we are. You watch them run out the country, isn't it? And then they leave us to fend for ourselves. Okay, Madslish babies. So when ones come here now and they skip other countries because, you know, they're not really that interested. Do you know what I mean, Madslish babies? Okay, then they pop over here. Okay, Madslish babies. No. There's a lot, there we are. There's a lot more going on here, Madslish babies, okay? Then ones are not seeing, there we are, other things that are going on. And then, of course, you've got lots of different videos, thousands of different videos, okay, where they're only drip feeding. Drip, drip, drip. There we are. Drip, 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 drip. I'll tell you who I like, and I advertised him a long time, but not in that way, not in that way. I do not like him, but I like what he comes out with, My Delicious Babies, is Ryan Dawson. I was actually listening to a couple of days ago. There was a video with Ryan Dawson and Patrick Henningsen. Okay, My Delicious Little Babies from 21st Century Wire. Okay, My Delicious Babies, but he's under Ryan Dawson. Okay, so that's his channel, Ryan Dawson. He's got 10.8 thousand subscribers, My Delicious Babies. And it's a really, really interesting conversation, My Delicious Babies. The only thing that I do not like about and I am going to stumble here about what Ryan says, but it's the same as other channels when they call what I prefer to call them ladies of the night. They call them prostitutes. I really cannot stand that word, because if a man goes out and does it, he gets a pat on the back. But if a woman does anything, there we are, she has the book thrown at her and gets called all these dirty, nasty names. Now, that's what I do not like. But as I always say, everybody's shart stinks. But as an uploader, there we are, and I advertised him, what was it, a few years ago, or a couple of 2.5 years ago. He's a really good uploader. But I just feel that ones need to, no matter what channel they're on, there we are, they need to choose their words far more wisely. Here's how I'm going to drop this now. I'm going to drop it, there we are, good and proper, so that everybody understands, isn't it? So when a man and woman get married, right, especially if, you could have the man who's the breadwinner, however this may be, well, these days, because obviously then, wanted everybody to be working so nobody sees each other, nobody has a family life, My Delicious Babies. But if we look at it this way, say, for example, if a man, so I am going to say, there we are, man is man. So if a man, because they have needs, don't they? Well, I suppose you could say women have needs. Well, not when they're going through the change, but you know what I mean? But they have needs. So if a man, say, pays the bills, let's just, just say for argument's sake, it's just a conversation in my camera, My Delicious Babies, to you all. So if a man pays the bills and that, isn't it, right? So he's not going to want to sit there and twiddle his thumbs, is he? Do you know what I mean? So there's going to come a point where he's going to want a little, there we are, a little in return. So, his missus could cook, clean, iron and wash and all this now then, okay? But he wants a little, there we are, in return. You know what I'm saying? A bit of pillow talk, a bit of swinging from the old chandeliers, a bit of rumbling, there we are, rumble in the jungle now. Okay? So the fact of the matter is, if you really look at it a different way, and I said this, there we are, years and years and years ago, and I turned around and said, well, what could we say about the woman then? Because even though she's married now, right, she's got to give your man something in exchange. There we are, in exchange, isn't it? Do you follow what I'm saying? So if you really look at it, okay, a woman who's married, and one's not going to quite get what I'm saying. If they're not understanding, they're not on that, I do not mean this nastily, on the right level that I'm on. Okay, My Delicious Babies, okay? But the fact of the matter is this, simple thing. The fact of the matter is that they have to give something to the husband, isn't it? Okay? Then, of course, if they're not giving anything to the husband, then what's he going to do? His eyes are going to roam. He's going to be looking around for a little bit of what he fancy, isn't it? Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, okay? So the fact of the matter is this. So when any man on this planet, or any woman for that matter, okay, because it can go, 6 of one and half dozen of the other, when they're talking about these dear women out there, who I call ladies of the night, who are actually keeping a lot of rapists and nasty, nasty, putrid men away from other women, My Delicious Babies, okay? These dear ladies, there we are, need a flipping medal, there we are, for what they go through. Okay, Marzlichlik babies Kai. But if you're married to your man there, you have to give him something, isn't it? There we are. But if you're not giving, well, then things, there we are, go wrong, isn't it? Okay? But that's why I feel so very, very, there we are, really passionate about this and very strongly about it. That it's quite happy for anybody to put one of these dear women down now. There we are, makes me damn sick, man. It really does. To my back teeth, it makes me sick, man, when I hear that kind of dirty, nasty talk. You know what I mean? But nobody ever looks, there we are, where the own shark doesn't stink. But I've always said it. If somebody's pointing one finger, there's three pointing straight back. You see what I mean? So I say that about anyone, not just Ryan, but anybody. But as regards to how his videos are, yes, I respect his videos, but I just do not like the way that he addresses women, you know, the way he talks. But I could say that about many other uploaders, Marzlichlik babies, do you know what I mean? It's like these dear women now, the dear ladies and that, there we are classed as trash. Tuh. I tell you what, they know far more Marzlichlik babies, there we are, than what the average will ever flipping effing know. And the ones who seem to want to hire them are our putrid effing flipping governments all in the world, Marzlichlik babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so they cannot be that bad, can they? Seems that the whole goes a long way, and that's not being nasty or rude, Marzlichlik babies. There we are, I'm just done saying it the way it is. Okay, Marzlichlik babies, but ones are very quick as well to talk about England and all that, right? But you got Russia, you got Lithuania, you got all different countries, Prague, everything. Okay, Marzlichlik babies. Romania, you got, there we are, loads of different countries. France, you know, they like to leave that out the equation, but you still got, there we are, you little madams there as well, Marzlichlik babies, you know what I mean? It's going on everywhere. See, if anybody feels that, you know, this is only in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 places, no, it isn't. It's going on, there we are, damn well everywhere. And ones, there we are, need to wake up to this now. And if you look in the world, you'll see ones where, you know, the husbands, you know, when they should be working and they should be doing something, you know what I mean? And maybe they're hopping off somewhere else. There we are, Marzlichlik babies, do you know what I mean? And for these, they look like, what are they supposed to be? Supposed to be the effing pillars of the community. Make me damn rank sick, man. Okay, Marzlichlik babies. So that's all I have to say today. I've got nothing more to say. All I like to do, there we are, is just give food for thought, that's it. Okay? But for myself, nobody must ever make out that their own shark doesn't stink. Must never do that. Because somewhere, there we are, they're going to shark the pants. Do you know what I mean? Okay? So I'm just letting, there we are, ones know. So when ones are there flipping, you know, chatting this silly shite, you know what I mean? I don't want to hear it. There's plenty of channels who do it, but they never look at their own damn selves, you know what I mean? And of course, getting back to Gaza, I'll just take a very, very, very good look what is going on here and why other countries do not want them there. Doesn't it sound a bit like what we've heard over all this time, Marzlichlik babies? Well, they never wanted a Jewish either. There we are. So what is going on? You see what I mean? I know, there we are, what I'm saying. Okay, Marzlichlik babies, okay? I could say, okay, I get on with somebody, you know, from, you know, not in that way, from a different country, okay? Would I want to go and live in a country? No. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, I certainly wouldn't want to go and live in a Middle Eastern country. No, I certainly would not. Because they live a completely different life. They have a completely different, there we are, regime. You see what I mean? Marzlichlik babies, okay? And I always thank my lucky stars, there we are, each and every day to my beautiful dear creator, that there we are, that I was born here. So that's not being nasty, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? There's a lot worse countries there we are in the world to be born from. Do you understand what I mean, okay? So I thank my lucky stars for that. But we have to really, there we are, see what's going on and how this has been, there we are, severely pushed. Okay, my delicious babies, and that's all that I'm saying to you. I could say a lot more. Lights off. I could say a lot more, my delicious babies. There we are. Believe me on this one, but I'm just going to leave it. So I feel that that's enough. And anyway, nobody, bless anybody. So thank you for any views, for any likes, the occasional comments. But nobody really listens to my videos, you know what I mean? So, but I'm just done saying it. But I know, there we are, when the goalpost moves, you see what I mean? If you're not saying what you should be saying. Not that anybody tells me to say anything, there we are. It's just I can see. You see what I mean? I've got eyes to see and ears to hear. Do you see what I mean? But no, I'm not going to fall into that shark. What we should really be doing is focusing, there we are, more on our country, of what is damn well going on, so that we can help to repair this complete madness that's been going on, there we are, forever, for a long time. You see what I mean, my delicious babies? There we are. That's what we should be doing, instead of focusing on other countries that we cannot do nothing about. You've got the putrid governments. They're all, there we are, in on it. They're all involved in it. There we are. And that's the fact of the matter. But the truth, there we are, is going to come out soon. And like I said, there's going to be many, there we are, with egg on the birth race. There we are, when this comes out. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? Because like I said, all is not as it seems. And of course, yeah. But of course, these and the little lackeys, there we are, they're getting equally as worried as well. Because they know that, years ago, you could mention the war, and everybody, we've all gone there. We've all been brainwashed, my delicious babies. You go, oh gosh, yeah, this is terrible. You know what I mean? Because they now know that it's not really quite happening, rock and rolling that way. Do you see what I mean? Okay? So they throw more chaos, my delicious babies. Do you see what I mean there? More chaos. Okay, my delicious babies. And anyway, that's the end of my video. So wherever you are, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Yes, I will keep going on about it, okay? Because I smell something. There we are, my delicious little babies, okay? And there we are. I pretty much, there we are. Now I'm correct. You see, there we are, all across there. Okay, my delicious little babies. So you just please take care of yourselves now, and please try to take care of others, okay? Because we are in a bonkers, crackers and crazy world, okay? And peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you, okay? And if it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Yes. So please, there we are, choose whatever one chooses, or thoughts, or whatever, very wisely. My delicious little babies, there we are. That's the best advice I can give for now. Okay, so you just take care. So very much love. How I love you all. So thank you to anybody once again who does listen. But of course, we know what the drill is here. You know what I mean? When you tell any element of truth, this seems to be the punishment. Okay, my delicious babies. But that's all right, because there's always somebody seeing and there's always somebody hearing. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay. So much love. Take care. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.